What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be doing some in-depth technical analysis and give you guys my price prediction for Tesla for tomorrow. I'm also going to talk about what's going on in the overall stock market and how this may affect the markets. I'm going to talk about what Elon Musk just said that involves all Tesla employees, and also what Elon put on his Twitter page. That's actually pretty good news for Tesla, as this does open a lot more doors, believe it or not. Now, before I say anything about Elon Musk, before I give you guys my price prediction for tomorrow, I do have to mention a couple of things real quick. The first thing is I'm not a financial planner, so please don't take this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed 6 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And you could always sell these 6 free stocks for cash and use that cash to buy some Tesla shares for free in this limited time offer that ends in just 8 days. So please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at Tesla, we're down about 2.36% for the day. We closed almost exactly where I predicted yesterday. I did predict we'd drop into this lower range, get a bounce off 730 to 733, and then end up closing around that 740 to 745 range. And that is what ended up happening. That doesn't mean predictions are always going to be correct, but it just goes to show that sometimes we will make some good moves. Now, when it comes to Tesla, right, we have to look at what's happening to the overall market, our economy right now, to actually better understand the situation we're in. So in Europe, as of right now, we are seeing another projected increase in inflation. That wouldn't necessarily be good for the markets. We're starting to see the market kind of take a hit because of that. Not necessarily the worst of states just yet, because the official data hasn't necessarily come out just yet as well. I think it's coming out like next week, but as of right now, this could be a little bit concerning. It hasn't necessarily hurt the market too badly, so I do think a lot of this stress is kind of priced in. We're also seeing this right here. The Fed just started their quantitative tightening, and that is actually going to be pretty big for our economy, because what's happening is the Fed has this massive balance sheet that they essentially accumulated due to the virus and all those things that were going out with all the money that was printed, and now they realize they're at a point where they need to start reducing this balance sheet due to the treasury bills and mortgage-backed securities that are backstopping our economy during the virus. And this in turn has led people to talk about how this could lead to a recession. It's not in the best of situations, but like I said before, there's a lot of FUD that's spreading because of this, and there's a lot of people siding more on the bearish side. That doesn't mean we're just going to start crashing because of this, because the changes from even quantitative tightening are already priced into, if you think about it. So I don't necessarily think that the market's just going to start crashing extremely hard. And in order for us to determine if that will happen, we'll have to see certain types of price actions, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is this right here. In Shanghai, we're finally seeing the lockdowns coming to an end, coming to a halt. And that is good news, as many residents are celebrating right now. It makes me excited too. This is great news. It's going to lead to less strain on supply chains and inventories. So as they start to slowly get back into full recovery mode, it should really improve manufacturing, a lot of numbers for these companies, a lot of tech companies, and that is also a good piece of news. Now, for the markets, one of the things you're going to notice is we didn't necessarily react in a, how should I say, very consistent way. So what you'll notice is yesterday I talked about how a couple of days ago there was this gap that essentially formed on the SPY. See this gap right here? And this gap was actually around, let me see if it shows it. It doesn't show the exact range, but it's around that 406.95, 406.9, something like that. And you'll notice that we ended up dropping to 406.94, which is almost exactly where the gap got filled. Then we pushed up after that. So if I pull up the 1 minute candles, look at the price action from the SPY. You'll notice that we filled a gap right over here. Then we pushed up all the way up to 412, and the SPY almost turned green. Then we ended up getting a slight rejection after that, but it just goes to show the SPY does have a lot of resistance at 412. I'd like to see how we respond to it, and it does look like the SPY might actually drop a little bit for tomorrow and get a nice bounce, because overall it still is respecting this upward trend. Let me show you on the 5-day chart. See how the SPY is still respecting this upward trend? So it does look like it's going to continue to actually push a little bit higher over the next couple of trading days, hopefully by next week. And then when it comes to the NASDAQ, check this out right here. And I'm talking about this because all of this does affect Tesla, believe it or not. So the NASDAQ is not necessarily as good as the SPY, in my opinion, because the NASDAQ has this gap as well. Excuse me, at $11,788. We also have this gap for the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ could possibly drop down, but one of the things you'll notice is we have support around that 11,900 range. So we haven't seen the NASDAQ break below that just yet. So as of right now, it doesn't look like we're going to fill the gap just yet. I mean, we could, but so far it doesn't look like that. It looks like we're holding up pretty darn well. And as a result of this, the fact that the SPY and the NASDAQ are not just like getting crashed and destroyed. I mean, they're just down like 0.7% or point. The SPY is down 0.8%. It wasn't even that bad. Tesla, on the other hand, was down 2.36%. Not too bad either. Now, the thing I noted in the past was the fact that Tesla had this gap around that 708 range. So I talked about how it is possible Tesla would start heading in the downward direction. And my thesis about that is that as of right now, it doesn't look like that's guaranteed to get filled just yet. It looks almost like Tesla's holding up a lot better than many would have anticipated. So as of right now, we don't have that confirmation, but it is something you should keep in your mind if we do end up coming close to it. So here's how I want to actually put this into context. If we push up, okay, if Tesla starts to rally out of nowhere, this thing has resistance at 752, 776, and 800 flat. Be on the lookout for those ranges if this thing does have a breakout. Now, if it drops down, if it starts to drop down, and sometimes it could drop down harder than you may expect, we have support at 730. If that doesn't hold, 720, and then if we end up dropping below 720, it's possible we just fill this gap from that point. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go all the way down to like that really low 700 range and then bounce off that. Now, I'm not predicting that. I'm not guaranteeing that. I'm just saying that's what you should be looking out for and prepared for as a Tesla investor. But from when it comes to my prediction, this is what I think is going to happen. I'm going to pull up the 1 minute candles. I mean, I'm not seeing a sign that Tesla's going to have to drop a whole $40 in one day. I don't think we're just going to fill the gap in one day. As of right now, there isn't a confirmation of it. There's no crazy piece of news that should really cause that to happen in just such a short period of time. So what I think could happen is in the opening, okay, Tesla's going to push up to maybe that 750. Maybe it might just get rejected around 755, 760. Then we're going to start dropping. Okay, just like how we did today. And I think the SPY and the NASDAQ are gonna kind of like drop a little bit because I did talk about the fact that we started dropping around the closing, and the SPY does look like it's primed for some lower tests. Now Tesla might bounce off 733, but I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to actually bounce off 720 this time. Okay. And once we bounce off 720, I think we're going to see a spring like reversal. We're going to push right back up like this. And we might actually have a pretty decent close and manage to close a little bit green around that 740 to 745 range. So I would anticipate somewhat green. We might actually try to push at the very end. And bulls may gain some control at the very end and try to push it up. So I would anticipate a move kind of like this, a nice pullback followed by a bounce off 720. And as of right now, if we don't drop below 720, we should be holding up pretty well. If we do end up dropping below it and we start pushing to like 718, 717, then it's most likely the case that we're going to fill the gap. But as of right now, I can't promise that as we haven't seen confirmation of that just yet. And Tesla did hold up a little bit better than I originally anticipated, right? So it's doing not horrible. It's just a healthy pullback and consolidation. It's doing all right. So another thing I want to look at is, let me actually close this. Let's look at some other technical indicators before I talk about what's going on with Elon Musk. If I bring up my MACD and RSI, one of the things you're going to know on the 2 hour is it does look a little bit bearish. We're starting to see this crossover from the MACD and the 9-day moving average, which is why I am anticipating some more like kind of bearish price action as we start to test a lower low compared to today. We're starting to almost see this crossover from the MACD and the signal line. Also, RSI is getting reduced again. And then another thing you're going to notice is, let me see if I could show my EMAs, because I know my chart looks kind of messy because of all these lines. We got this 1348 EMA crossover right here on the 2 hour time frame. So it does look like Tesla's starting to kind of downward trend it just a little bit, but it doesn't guarantee we're just going to drop that low just yet. We'll have to see how we respond first. But as of right now, like I said before, we should get a bounce off 720. Hopefully, that is what I'm predicting. And as of right now, I just want you guys to be prepared for that. So, anyways, with that said, let's actually look at what Elon Musk said, because it has been reported that Musk is asking all employees to come back to the office or quit. And he's very, very primed on pushing the company forward and never ever quitting. So I respect him for that, because perhaps there's always going to be another reason as to why he wants moves like this to be made. And it may not always be as explicit or as easy to see just by reading a news headline, because he may have already realized that their productivity has maybe dropped a little bit and he needs a lot of employees to come back to the office to start working. And that's just his opinion. He does believe it's going to bring back productivity and other things like that. And he's most likely correct about that, because he may have noticed something else that wasn't necessarily mentioned in these articles, but it's what he wants. I think he added that there might be some exceptions, uh, and as a result of that, it could be very good, in my opinion. Could be very good, because he wants employees to get back. He wants to push them forward. He doesn't want us to live in different ways. And some people have different opinions. That's okay. But him saying this, him making this announcement, could be a good move for Tesla as a company, because he's pushing for more productivity. He's pushing for workers to work even harder to help reach their goals and push forward, because of the fact that there were a lot of constraints this year due to the lockdowns and other things like that. So, whatever he says, let it be. It's most likely the best move for Tesla, and I respect his decision. I also want to talk about this right here. Elon Musk tweeted this right here. He stated that Tesla scores 100 out of 100 for the seventh year in a row for LGBTQ equality. So, once again, there are different people around the world that have different beliefs, and that's okay with me. I'm okay with that. But I want to let you know that Tesla has been in favor of this community. Elon Musk also tweeted this right here. He stated that don't buy our car if that's a problem. People should be free to live their lives where their hearts take them. So he wants to let the world know that Tesla is in favor of LGBTQ rights. That's incredible, in my opinion, because it does open more doors technically for more audiences out there. And it does incentivize them to actually buy a Tesla or do something like that. So, like I said before, I do appreciate the fact that he's trying to spread love and not hate. So it's a big thing. And I know different people may have different beliefs. That's totally okay, whether you agree or not. But I just want to put it out there that technically this is a good move that he's making, in my opinion. It does open more doors. It does actually incentivize more people to buy Teslas. And just a huge shout out to everyone that's involved. So the last thing I wanted to say is, look, Tesla is still a fantastic company. Okay, we're not necessarily in the perfect state in the market. I do see a little bit more downside, followed by hopefully we get a nice bounce going into next week and we start pushing up again. I really hope that happens. But regardless of what happens, even if this thing does start to drop down in the next few months, it's not the end of the world. The potential is there. It's going to keep growing and their numbers will get better. I'm confident for that, especially considering the fact that we're getting the lockdowns that are easing in China. Things are improving. Just be patient, and it's not the end of the world. Look at this as an opportunity and stay strong, remain calm, cool, and collected. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of the day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, and peace out.